Yo, 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 what's up? What's up? Welcome to another Gaming in Circles discussion. As everything, I'm Jeffrey, and today we're talking about EA Play Live 2020, my thoughts on it, my reactions basically, and everything that went down in it. So, yeah, let's get started. And first of all, overall, I think this conference was underwhelming. Like, we barely saw anything new. Like, tell me, like, what'd you see? Tell me in the comments, what'd you see that you thought was new and was like bold? Especially if we compare it to the Sony conference that just happened. Like, I was basically bored all the way through. And I appreciate what EA is trying to do everything with the cross play and bringing titles to Switch. But overall, it was just lackluster, underwhelming. And at this point, I'm thinking, why they even do it? Why they even do a conference? Typically, like, I ask this question almost every year. Why do they do a press conference? They could just drop these games and announce release dates via press releases, via social media posts, and everyone will be satisfied. We don't need these drawn out press conferences. And even though this one was 40 minutes, it sort of felt long because there wasn't really anything new. So let's basically break it down. So they started off with Apex Legends. Now I don't play Apex Legends, so it's not fair for me to, quote unquote, criticize it for what it showed compared to what it didn't show. I know they recently released another character and they brought in a new map, and it seems like they're bringing in a couple interesting modes and extra stuff like that, but overall for me, it wasn't for me. I felt like, this conference and the recent release of the newest character was so close to each other, but since the conference happened afterwards, it didn't really have that much of a bang to it, if that makes sense. So it wasn't really appealing, even as someone who doesn't play Apex. Like, usually when Fortnite does something cool, like they bring in they have a movie on the big screen, like a movie trailer or a game trailer or something, that at least raises my interest a little bit. For Apex, I feel like that didn't do anything. And if we're moving on from the content to the other announcements, yeah, they announced crossplay between PS4, Xbox One, Steam, EA Origin. They announced the game for Switch, and they announced crossplay with Switch also. And the Switch announcement, that was more, we've been hearing speculations and leaks about a Switch release for Apex. I think everyone saw this coming a mile away, honestly. And it wasn't exciting. Like, everything was sort of, waiting to happen. Like, okay, we know Apex is gonna be at the EA conference. What do you have? Just go ahead and show it, get it out the way. And thank goodness they put it first, honestly, because I felt like if they would have done it in the middle of the conference, it would have dragged it down at a slower pace than what I thought the conference overall as a whole was. So yeah, that was Apex. And then moving on to Sims 4, I thought this was probably the worst showing in terms of game content out of the whole press conference. Sort of out of a game that's already released. Like, because they started Sims 4 with the inclusion and diversity, which is always good. I'm not faulting that out of their announcements, but it's what came afterwards. Like, I'm thinking, and I can't even remember if they announced anything new for Sims. Honestly, I think they might have announced a new expansion pack, but that's how forgetful the Sims portion was outside of outside the diversity and inclusion and racial injustice portion in the beginning. So I honestly I don't know. So moving on, they had EA original stuff, and some of this stuff might be out of order. I don't remember the exact order, but they had EA original stuff. That stuff looked interesting, but this is go back to what I'm saying, like how there's nothing against the smaller indie games, but how are these games the most exciting, one of the most exciting announcements out of the whole press conference? Like we had It Takes Two, This Is Random, and Rocket Arena. It Takes Two, we barely saw any gameplay of it. We saw the concept, we got to hear about the premise of it, which sounds cool. That was Joseph Fares' game. He made A Way Out. I didn't play it, but I heard it was good, and so I'm expecting the people are expecting good things out of his next game, and it wasn't a surprise that he was there due to the success of A Way Out too. So yeah, and then we had This Is Random. People are saying this is like a Tim Burton-esque style of game, and it looks cool. It looks interesting. Out of all three of the EA original games, this one I'm looking forward to the most, and that's probably because we saw gameplay. We saw concept art. Got to explain what the game was. And the third and last EA original was Rocket Arena, which out of all three was sort of disappointing. It looks like another Overwatch ripoff. You're flying, you're jumping around, you have your rocket launchers. It's colorful, it's vibrant. I'm pretty sure some people will get enjoyment out of it, but there's already too many of these quote-unquote hero shooters going around and stuff that I think I honestly don't know if this is going to stand a chance, honestly. And who knows if they're releasing, I didn't see a release date for it. I don't know if it's going to release PS4, Xbox One, or if it's going to do next gen consoles. I'm guessing it's going to do PC too. I think it can get a decent sized player base in the beginning. I just don't know how long it's gonna last. They're also betting on the like a battle pass tier type system, like a season system. So that'll probably keep some players in for the long haul, but who knows. After that, we got Star Wars Squadrons. I'm sort of excited for this, but honestly, the release date is sort of too close to the expected release dates of next-gen consoles, so I don't even know if I'm going to play this. The space combat looks cool. Everything's first person. That's the most interesting thing about it. Usually with space combat shooters, they're usually third person, and I think that was a lot of people's expectations. I think they wanted third person so they can see the ships, but at that point it would be too similar to Battlefront 2 space combat, which I think they wanted to avoid. That's what I think is one of the only reasons why they chose to stick with only first person, is so that their combat couldn't get compared to Battlefront 2 space combat. But overall, they showed some of the story off. You get to make a character for each side. Each side has a couple missions for story mode, plus the multiplayer mode. They said everything's gonna be in-game, no microtransactions at launch is what they say. Who knows if that's gonna be true. But, there's gonna be customization. The one thing that worries me though is they didn't show many modes for multiplayer. Usually for games like these with a focus on multiplayer, you want to have a lot of modes, and I think they showed 2, maybe 3 multiplayer modes. And I don't know if that's going to hook people. And you have all these factors, the 2-3 multiplayer modes releasing close to next gen consoles. That's somewhat of a factor, but not a huge factor. And then people got burned by Battlefront 2 in the beginning, so there's a lot going. There's a sort of a decent amount going against this game. I just want to see, honestly, how it stands up when it's released. Like I said, I'd probably be excited for it if it wasn't releasing so close to next gen. I'd probably wait until a sale so that way I can pick it up at a later time. But who knows? Who knows? Like, I wouldn't mind playing it. I honestly, I'd probably pick this up day one if they had sort of a Death Star run in first person. I always like that about the Star Wars space combat-ish type games where you can fly and do the Death Star run, sort of like the movies. I know Battlefront had a mode like that with their space combat, but every time you try to do it, you always get killed too quickly trying to do it. So it'll probably even offer a different fun factor doing it in first person rather than the third person with those usual Death Star runs. So yeah, Star Wars Squadrons. And then after that, we had these next gen game demo things. Like, I was so confused. They did this around like 2015, 2016 too, where they showed like little 2-3 second clips of not even full games. They showed like little tech demos from their studios for games in pre-production. And this is honestly what made the conference super lackluster in my opinion. Like, why even show that? Why even have a conference if a lot of your games, a decent amount of your games, is not even ready? It's still in early stages of production. Honestly, no matter how good the tech is, no matter how good the concept is, no matter how good the premise is, no one wants to see a game that early and only, in pre-production. Like, there was no logo there, there was basically nothing. Yeah, it seemed cool, in the moment, but even in that moment, you're thinking like, why are they doing this? It's just filler. It's just filler, and it just mainly, in my opinion, is just to appease, shareholders and console manufacturers and fellow devs about like the technology and stuff. So honestly, you can just throw that out the window and we can keep it going. Which was basically the last announcement, which was honestly the most hyped one, but there's an asterisk, and that's a new Skate game. And I'm not gonna lie, I was hyped in the moment, but quickly realizing he didn't even show a logo. You can tell this game's early if you don't even have a logo to show that the game you're working on for. Like, even games like Metroid Prime 4, they got canceled and stuff. When they originally showed that game and it was early, they at least had a logo for it. This is similar to what Pokemon Let's Go, when they first announced it, and the dude was sitting there with a notepad writing and drawing, and he said, "Oh, we're making a Pokemon game for Switch." At least that came out within like a year, and like the next year. They said it's super early, they don't even have a logo, so we can't even expect this game until 3-4 years. And honestly, it feels like it's a reaction to the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1+2 hype and support that it's getting. Like, if EA was truly about it, they probably would have started this a while ago. And yeah, they said comments brought it back to life, but I don't believe them. Like, I think it was only because Tony Hawk was coming back, and all these other skateboarding games are coming back. You got Tony Hawk, you got Session, you got Skater XL, you got Skatebird. There's like 4 or 5 games already that are proving to them that, oh yeah, people are wanting skateboarding games, and just because the biggest competitor is now about to drop a game, that's when you're going like, oh, we need to tell people that we're finally making skate, that we're bringing skate back. Like, nah, they don't really care. They're just trying to release now that they don't want Tony Hawk to steal all that mind share and, you know, players' goodwillness towards a skate game. So, and who knows, by the time the new skate game releases in 3-4 years, we could see a second Tony Hawk game come out already. In these other skate games, people will be excited for skate, but if there's a huge loss in the amount of people whose urge to play a skateboarding game will die down by the time it comes out, because of all the skateboarding games that are about to come out this year or next year. So I think that was a huge loss on EA on that one. Like, yeah, glad they announced it so people aren't, you know, clamoring for a skate game on Twitter or online anymore, but it's their loss. And that was basically the entire EA Play Live press conference. You know, like I said, it was lackluster. Nothing much to it. Wish there was more, but honestly, like, was I expecting more? Deep down, probably not. Like, I always think these things are gonna be lackluster when it comes to EA, and this year proved no different. Next year, think about it. Next year, are those little clips they showed us gonna be at next year? Maybe one of them, but probably not. And so that's why I'm thinking next year is probably gonna be a disappointment too. So yeah, I mean, they showed the sports games off too. They didn't even show NBA Live, because that, like, them not showing NBA Live probably goes against my wishes. That NBA Live is probably gonna be a dumpster fire or something. It's probably not even gonna look as good as 2K. EA probably saw 2K in the PlayStation conference. It was like, oh no, we're not looking as good as that. Let's go ahead and take this off. And so yeah, that's what I think about NBA Live. And then they didn't even show like a decent amount of gameplay for the sports games. I thought they were at least gonna show like a quick clip of gameplay for like actual, like, a play being run in Madden and a couple seconds of gameplay in FIFA, but they didn't even do that. It was like a gameplay trailer. So yeah, overall, even from a sports game standpoint, I'm sort of disappointed. So yeah, that's EA Play, my reaction to it. You know, thanks for tuning in. If you like what you heard, if you like these videos, go ahead and subscribe to Gaming in Circles. We're on social media, you know, we're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at Gaming in Circles. Same name across everything. And be sure to come back. You know, we'll got more discussions coming, got more videos coming. And check out gamingincircles.com. I'll write some blog posts, some opinion pieces on there. So yeah, check it out. Until the next one, I'm out.